Hey guys, it's Benedictines the truth. A lot of people have asked me, how do you know that the things that you're saying are true? I mean, you call yourself Benedictines the truth, but how do you know that the things that you're saying are true? You claim that we are in a hell room. How do you know that we're in a hell room? And just because you have suffered doesn't mean that we're in a hell room. You might just be thinking that we're in a hell room because you have suffered. You're actually looking at how you have experienced life. You're not really looking at how other people have experienced life. So you say, hey, this is a hell room because life was hard for me. How do you know this is a hell room? What if it's not a hell room? How do you know that there are beings that are feeding off negative energy? It's not like you have seen these beings that you are saying feed off negative energy. Just because the world is full of suffering doesn't really mean that there are beings that are feeding off negative energy. What if we're suffering for our own good? What if there are some things that we're supposed to learn, and the best way for us to learn these things is through suffering, so that we'll evolve and understand ourselves better and understand life better? How do you know we're in a soul trap? It's not like you have died and came back to life. Just because we don't know where we come from doesn't necessarily mean that we're in a soul trap. What if the best way for us to have this experience is to forget where we come from? I mean, when you look at how we are experiencing life now, you'd realize that there are things that have happened to us a long time ago that are still affecting us today. Like there's some wounds that we have not healed. Some of us behave in ways that are toxic because of the traumas that we've experienced when we're still young. So, isn't it logical to think that if we want to really be in the present, we must not remember our past lives? I mean, if we remember our past lives, some of us would want to finish what we've started in our previous lives. If we died before some people paid us what they owed us, would feel like, hey, they still gotta pay. And we would end up confusing people. And you owed me in my previous life, so you gotta pay. You did this to me in my previous life, so you've got to suffer. So maybe it's best that we don't remember our past life. How do you know that what you're saying is true? Because what I'm saying is we're in a hell room. What I'm saying is there are beings that are feeding off negative energy. I'm saying that there are beings that are torturing humanity because they want us to produce negative energy. They are programmed to feed off negative energy. They are programmed to feed off negativity. I'm saying that we're in a soul trap. I'm saying that when we die, we deal with entities that want to bring us back here. And if we're not smart enough, we'll find ourselves back here. How do I know that what I'm saying is true? Now here's what you must realize. While you're still in this realm, you can never know anything for sure. I want you to understand, like, we are being deceived on so many levels, right? You're being deceived in your dreams. When you're having a dream, you believe that you are in a physical world until you wake up and you realize that you're in a dream. So imagine the level of deception that you're dealing with in this realm now. So there isn't a person that can say they know for sure what is really going on, right? And I assume that the people who watch my videos already know that. So what do I focus on? I focus on what makes the most sense. 1 + 1 is 2. That is the best way to get to the truth given our circumstances, right? That's the best way to get to the truth. There's no other way to get to the truth, because you can't even get to the truth through direct experience. You can be shown things that are not even real, and you believe that they are real. You can see angels. People hallucinate, right? People do hallucinate. So you cannot say direct experience is actually the best way for you to know the truth. No, it isn't. You can be shown things. You can even have a near-death experience and you see things that seem real. You find out that it was just a dream. You're just dreaming. It wasn't real. You can discover some information about history, information that was hidden. But you must realize is that it's possible that people in the past were given wrong information. So just because you've discovered something now doesn't mean that it is actually true, right? So you have to think as rationally as possible so that what's left is really what makes sense, right? You have to think as rational as possible so that what is left is what makes the most sense. So what I'm telling you is what makes the most sense. I'm not making claims. I'm telling you what makes the most sense. I'm not saying, hey, I know we're in a hell realm. I spoke to this other alien entity that told me that we're in a hell. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you look at what is going on in the world, you look at what is going on in your own life, you look at what is going on in your family, in your village, in your town, in your country. Is it really logical to think that we are having a positive experience? Is it really logical to think that this was created for a good reason, or a reason that we all would agree with? Like, if we knew why this was created, would we be happy? Would we be like, damn, that's brilliant? Or would we be like, what the fuck? When you look at how the world works, it is very logical to think that it wasn't created for a good reason. When you look at the fact that no one wants to suffer, but people suffer every day. And they don't know how to escape their suffering. It is very logical to think that you are in a hell realm. When you try to have honest conversations with people about how they really feel, realize that they feel like they're in hell. It's not like people really think that they're having a positive experience. It's just that it is cool to pretend as if things are going well in your life. It is cool. It is cool to make people think that you believe in this world. That is what is cool. And people want to be cool. People don't want other people to think that they are boring. People don't want other people to think that they are depressed. People don't want other people to think that their lives are miserable. We do see people posting happy pictures on social media. Whenever they go out, they gotta take pictures so that they'll post these pictures on social media. There are girls who will go out with a guy so that she'll take pictures. That's like she just want to take pictures. I once dated a girl like that. That relationship didn't last. It was crazy. She always wanted to go out and she wanted to take pictures and she would post them. Like she had plenty of pictures that she'll always be posting. So that will mean that she's always going out with guys so that she can take pictures. You're in a restaurant with a girl, you're having a good time, takes out the phone, posts on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram. People are addicted to validation. They want to feel like other people think that their lives are great. So of course, people ain't gonna be truly honest about how they feel until they've had enough, or they have to be honest, and they find themselves in a situation where they have to be honest. That's when they will tell you the truth. And this is really how I feel. I was holding back the whole time. This is really how I feel. So, if most people who are here do feel like they are experiencing hell, is it logical to say that this is not a hell realm? If they're experiencing hell, even though they didn't do anything to deserve that, you can see that most people who are suffering have not done anything to deserve that. They're just suffering. And sometimes they find themselves having to do whatever just to be in a better position in life. Sometimes they find themselves having to do things that are immoral to find themselves in a better position in life, and we judge them without realizing that they were suffering and they didn't know what else to do. It's not like there was a person who was willing to help. So they just do whatever they can to find themselves in a better position. Like if you were on fire, and there was no water, you would probably do something that if you were not on fire, people will think that is bad, right? Maybe you run into a stranger's house because you want water. Maybe you'd run towards a person and they'll run away from you. You break some rules because you are in pain. Some people break rules because they're in pain. Right? They're in pain. They don't know what else to do, so they just break rules. And what you must realize is that most of us are in pain. That's why we break rules. But the world is not ready for that conversation. People are afraid of suffering and they don't know what to do, man. So they're like, hey, what can I do? What can I do? Okay, maybe this will work, or maybe that will work. Maybe I should be alone. Maybe that will work. Or maybe I should surround myself with like-minded people. Maybe that will work. Maybe I should become rich. Maybe that will work. How do I become rich? It's not easy to become rich. Maybe I should break some rules. People are trying to minimize their suffering. That's the reason why people wake up and go to work. They're trying to minimize their suffering. This is the reason why people do anything at all, really. It's to minimize their suffering. It's not like people wake up in the morning and be like, how can I suffer today? No. They ask themselves, how can I make my life less miserable? How can I suffer less? That should tell you something. So I think as rationally as possible, without really caring about how I feel. Now, when it comes to the truth, I don't really care how I feel. I think as rationally as possible, even if it means that I'm going to be in pain. I will think as rationally as possible. So what I'm giving you is what makes the most sense after thinking as rationally as possible. And that is why I'm telling y'all that this is the truth. It's because I've thought as rationally as possible. Now, if people disagree with me, that is good. I love debating with people. We can do a live together and have a conversation and see what makes the most sense. I'm very confident that the things that I'm saying really make sense because of the amount of work that I've done, and I know that people do not do the kind of work that I do. I know that most people just live their lives. They don't think deeply about reality. They don't question their existence. They just trying to survive. But I'm always questioning everything, always. So I trust myself because of that. So after thinking as rationally as possible, I've concluded that this is a hell realm. After thinking as rationally as possible, I've concluded that there are some beings that are feeding off negative energy. And that will explain a lot. That will explain why we suffer in the first place. It wasn't impossible to create a world like this where there was no suffering. But people suffer more than they enjoy life. The lows are too damn low, but the highs ain't that high. People wouldn't want to experience the best day of their life or the best pleasures in life for the whole day, and then the next day they experience the worst pain in life. Like they wouldn't make that deal. If someone came and told them that, hey, look, today will be the best day of your life. You're gonna experience the greatest pleasures. Like you going to really, really enjoy your life. But tomorrow, for 1 hour, you're going to experience the worst pain. I'm talking about the worst pain that a conscious being can experience. You're going to experience. Most people wouldn't take that deal. They're like, nope. So ask yourself, why do we have to feel pain? I remember I had a debate with this other pastor last year. He was saying that you don't realize that God is a genius. Think about it. If we didn't feel pain, we will not be able to recover after hurting ourselves. Let's say something happened and your leg is broken. If you didn't feel pain, it means that you will keep on working on that leg And that will mean that it will become much worse. You'll get to a point where you just can't even walk. I was like, yeah, but there's no good reason for humans to actually feel the level of pain that they feel when their legs are broken, right? Like, if you ever broke your leg before, you know what I'm talking about. Like, the pain that you feel is unreal. And we could have um, been like put in a world where the rules were a bit different, where maybe your legs cannot be broken, right? We could have been put in a realm where, the rules were different, the laws of nature were different. You find that if you lose your leg, it grows back, right? It doesn't have to be this way. Things are this way for a reason. What's the reason, in your opinion? Do you think that things are this way for our own good, for our own growth? Or things are this way because something wants us to suffer, and there is something that is gaining from our suffering? Because you wouldn't want someone to suffer if you didn't benefit in some way. Maybe you hate them, so you feel good when they're suffering. Maybe you feel like they've done something wrong and you are punishing them, so you feel good. It's like if a person unalives an innocent person, of course the family members of the victim will want the perpetrator to be arrested and charged. They will go to court. They want to see that person go to jail. Why? It's not because they think that the world will be a better place when that person is in prison. That's not the reason. They want that person to suffer. So they gain something from knowing that that person will be in jail and they'll be suffering. They will even wish that the worst things happen to that person. So if we are suffering as conscious beings, if some of us are exiting on our own because of suffering, if some of us are drinking alcohol because we're trying to escape suffering, if some of us get addicted to because we're trying to escape suffering, isn't it logical to think that there is something that wants us to suffer? Because if really we were uncomfortable with suffering, and whatever put us here cares about us, it wouldn't want us to suffer. It would try its best to minimize our suffering. It would even, give us some instructions like, okay, this is how you minimize your suffering. But we're not able to minimize our suffering. It seems like people are suffering more and more. Even like, it doesn't really matter how much we improve technologically. It seems like people are suffering more and more. Like, there will always be new problems. Now people are panicking because they can feel that something bad is about to happen. We don't want what happened in 2020 to happen again, but we kind of feel like something really, really crazy is about to happen. I mean, the world itself seems weird, like more weird than it has ever seemed. Celebrities are about to get exposed. Isn't that crazy? AI is getting too intelligent now. More intelligent than humans. Because AI is more intelligent than humans. When you look at what AI can do, human beings cannot do what it does. You can tell AI to write a song, and it will write a very good song in seconds. Like the most talented humans cannot do that. Jay-Z doesn't even write his lyrics. He's just kind of like freestyle, but he can't do what AI does. Things that were supposed to be impossible are now possible. But we have never been able to get rid of suffering. Why is it that we are able to improve in a lot of different ways, but we're unable to get rid of our suffering? If what makes us do anything at all is, trying like avoid suffering or trying to minimize suffering. Conscious beings do not want to suffer. So why is it that we have not been able to minimize our suffering? Because we're suffering more now. It's logical to think that there is something that wants us to suffer, and it's benefiting from our suffering. It might not be benefiting directly, but it's benefiting. Isn't that what makes the most sense? Doesn't that explain why there's so much suffering in the world? Why, no matter how you live life, you suffer. Like there's no perfect way to live life, because you still suffer. Like it doesn't matter what you do, you still suffer. It doesn't matter how you think. You can be a stoic, you can be a very conscious person. You can be smarter than everyone else, but you will still suffer. When you think as rational as possible, you realize that there is something that wants us to suffer. And it's benefiting from our suffering. We might not really know how it's benefiting from our suffering, but it's benefiting. The same way that, and to understand that really makes sense. When you look at the way that animals get energy from other animals by unaliving them, when you understand that is really what is happening, like you already know that is happening. It's not like you think that might be happening. You know that there are animals that cannot survive unless they unalive other animals and feed off their energy. So if you are in a realm where that is already happening, is it far-fetched to think that might be happening even in the spiritual realm? There's something that's feeding off our energy, but we don't even know what it is and how it's doing that, but it's feeding off our energy. We do know that when we suffer, we lose a lot of energy, right? Like when you're suffering, you lose it. Like when you're sick, you don't have a lot of energy, right? When you're depressed, you don't have a lot of energy. Ever been truly depressed that you don't even clean your room? You don't have energy to clean your room. You don't have energy to wash your clothes. You don't have energy to bath. You just you just sit in one place and just be miserable. So when you think as rational as possible, it's very much logical to conclude that there are beings that are feeding off negative energy. That is why there's so much negativity in the world. That is why we've never been able to solve the, to get rid of suffering. You might say, okay, Benedictine, you do make sense. Talk about the soul trap, then. Why do you think that we're in a soul trap? Why do you think that we have souls? Because you don't just jump into conclusions. We're in a soul trap. How do you know that we have souls? But we must understand that language is really, it's relative, right? What some people call a soul is what some people call consciousness, what some people call awareness, is what some people call like a sense of being. So I use the word soul because it's the word that we are all familiar with. But what I'm referring to is something much more, complicated than a soul. Because people believe that inside your body you have this thing that we call a soul, and when you die it leaves your body. No. By soul, I'm referring to consciousness itself. Right? I'm referring to your sense of self. I'm saying that even after you have left this realm, you will still be conscious. You will still be aware of your existence. That's what I'm referring to. The same way that when you are dreaming, you are aware of your existence. The same way that when you are having a psychedelic experience, you are aware of your existence. The same way that, I've never had a near-death experience, but I've had people saying that, they found themselves having an experience. So they know that they exist. So that sense of being, that's a soul. What I'm saying to you is that your sense of being will always be there. You'll always be conscious. So when you leave this reality, because you are needed in this reality, you are feeding some entities, they feed off your negative energy. They have a system in place that is used to deceive you to come back to this realm, so that you will keep on feeding them this negative energy that they want. On one of the videos that I've uploaded recently, I was saying that not every person that you see is real. There ain't that many conscious beings here. So there ain't that many beings that are actually generating energy. So of course you're important to these beings. Of course they would want to trap you here for as long as possible. Why do I think that it's logical to think that we're in a soul trap? I think it's logical to think that we're in a soul trap because we're not being given the truth while we're here. It's not like it's being explained to us what this is. If this was good and whatever put us here did want us to be free and like have a choice, we would be told what the truth is, so that we'll decide whether we want to like do the things that we're doing every day, or if we want to like play the game differently, or if we want to play the game at all. But if we know nothing, we don't know what we're doing, and we can be tortured in so many different ways because we know nothing. So the fact that a lot has been kept away from us should really, really make us suspicious. There are so many people who claim that they've had near-death experiences and who report that they met some beings who seem to know more than they do, who seem to love them, who seem to have been there in their lives, even though they weren't able to see these beings. And these beings seem to be interested in making sure that they come back here. They make them feel love. You know, they say, I've never felt this kind of love before. I've never felt this kind of love before. Of course, if you feel a lot of love, you will do whatever the thing that is making you feel, you know, that love wants you to do. So if it's to come back here, you come back here thinking that, yeah, whatever, you know, I was interacting with, it's a highly conscious being that wants me to come back and maybe do some things that I didn't do, or finish something that I've started. Most of them report that they didn't really want to come back, but, you know, these beings try their best to convince them to come back. There are people who claim to remember their previous lives. There are people who have died for real, but then, yeah, they believe that they have reincarnated. And there's been studies that were done to see if it's all real, if they're not making it up. And it seems like some of them are not making it all up. Like it's like there's something that's crazy about what was discovered that makes it logical to believe that these people have reincarnated. When we look deep into our subconscious, we do kind of like feel like we know some things that we're not even supposed to know. Sometimes we'll experience deja vu. You're like, damn, I've been here before. Why do I feel like I've been here before? Maybe you feel like you've been there before because you've been there before. Some people are born talented. Like, there are some things that they can do that better than other people. You know, they learn to do these things very, very quickly. Maybe they were able to do these things in their previous lives. So on a subconscious level, they know how to do these things. Like, if when you were young, you played soccer and you were good at it, and you stopped playing soccer maybe at the age of 15 and never play soccer until you're 50. When you start playing soccer again, you'll be very, very good at it because of what you've learned. Like, if you learn to play an instrument, like let's say in the beginning you can't play that instrument at all, you learn how to play that instrument for like a year and you become very, very good at it. Even if you don't play that instrument for the next 40 years, if you start playing again, you will learn much faster than the first time. You see, because on you, like, you already know how to play on a subconscious level. So it's just a matter of focusing your energy on what you've already learned. So maybe that is why some people, can do things much better than other people, because they've learned in their previous lives, and the lessons were stored in their subconscious. Some of you might ask, well, if that is possible, if you're saying that it's possible to learn something and and you forget that you have learned it, but then it's hidden in your subconscious, then maybe we are here to learn, and whatever we learn will be in our subconscious. And whenever we need to apply what we have learned, we'll be able to apply what we've learned. Like, when the time is right for us to apply what we've learned, we'll be able to have access to what we've learned. Now, what if this is a positive experience? Because what I'm saying is that we're having a negative experience. And I'm saying that if this was a positive experience, we would remember our lessons. So you can make the argument that, well, if it's possible for people to learn something and it is stored in the subconscious, so they don't remember that they've learned it until the time is right, and maybe we are learning something. The problem with that is that if we are here to learn and we keep on experiencing the same things over and over again, it gets to a point where you're not learning, you're just suffering. Like, we constantly experience the same things over and over again. Think of the things that you went through when you were little. I remember making a video explaining that most people have been dealing with the same demons since they were little. Like, they're old, but they've been dealing with the same. Let's say you're dealing with being bullied. Like, you deal with that your entire life. You learn how to handle bullying, but you still deal. Like, it doesn't even matter what you learn from getting bullied. If you've experienced neglect when you were young, you experienced that your whole life. You've experienced rejecting when you were young, you experienced that your whole life. So what are you really learning? Are you telling me that to learn how to handle rejection, you must learn your whole life? And shouldn't you know that you're learning? It will still be painful, but you know that you're learning. Just like if you decide to go to the gym and work out, it's not easy to work out. I'm going to the gym in 30 minutes. It's not easy to work out, but if I know that I'm working out, I'll work out more effectively than if I didn't know what I was doing, than if there was some being that told me that I must go and work out, or that forced me to work out and I didn't even know why I was working out. I was just thinking that I'm being tortured. So I will not really gain as much as I would gain if I knew what I was doing. So it's more logical to think that we are just in a soul trap. And we're not learning anything, we're not gaining anything, we're not experiencing this for a good reason. Something wants us to remain here and wants to torture us. So we need to think as logically as possible. If it means that we should cry, we should cry. But We should make sure that we're thinking as logically as possible. That's what my whole channel is about. It's about thinking as rationally as possible. That is why I'm willing to have discussions with people who disagree with me. I'm not afraid of debating with people. If you disagree with me, let's debate. Let's see who's right. Let's see what makes the most sense. It is important that we see things as they are while we are still here. You escape the soul trap while you are still here. This is what a lot of people do not realize. You actually escape the soul trap while you're still here. You don't escape the soul trap after you've passed on. If you die while you are still operating at a very low level of consciousness, you're going to be deceived in the afterlife. It's like if you were supposed to fight Mayweather and you never trained, like you don't know, you never trained to like be a boxer at all. Your whole life you never trained to be a boxer. And you're like, I'm gonna fight Mayweather. I can win or lose. No, you've already lost. You're not beating Mayweather. If you've never like, tried to box, you've lost. You've lost before you started fighting him. So you must prepare yourself while you're still here. Learn to detach from things that keep you energetically tied to this realm while you are still here. If you are in toxic relationships, yes, you might still want to be in those relationships, but you are also telling your subconscious mind that it is okay for you to be in these toxic relationships. So you're not going to be able to build enough resilience to escape toxicity, right? So when you are in the afterlife and you are given an opportunity to come back, you won't be able to resist because you haven't been training yourself to detach yourself from toxicity. But like, yeah, it's a toxic relationship, but there's something that I'm gaining from that toxic relationship. Yeah, it's a toxic world, but hey, there's this and that. That's how you come back to this realm. So you must detach yourself from all the things that you think are bad. All the things that you think are bad about this reality. If you think that social media is bad, then detach yourself from it. If you think that alcohol is bad, detach yourself from it. And the reason why I'm not telling you what is good and what is bad is because I think some people know how to use some things in ways that are actually effective, right? So a person can be on social media and you find that that's bringing, that's bringing a positive outcome. A person is on YouTube making videos and they're making videos that help people. That's good, right? A person is on YouTube, watching videos that help them grow. That's good, right? They're not watching nonsense. They're not watching videos that keep them in a low state of consciousness. So, yes, you can be addicted to things that are good, things that you shouldn't detach yourself from. And these are the things that you must teach yourself to be addicted to, so that is what you will want even after this. But if you teach yourself to be addicted to toxicity, things that you can see that are not good for you, even after this, there's the things that you will still accept. You see? It's like if you've been made to feel like you're not good enough, like your whole life you've been made to feel like you're not good enough. If people come into your life who treat you like you're not good enough, because you already feel like you're not good enough, you're going to accept the way that they're treating you. Like, I'm not good enough, so, this is how I should be treated. But if you're like, you know what, I'd rather be alone. If a person is treating me like I'm not good enough, that's fine. I would rather be alone than be treated like I'm not good enough. I'd rather not have a job if it means that I'm going to work a job that I do not like, where I'm getting paid peanuts. I'd rather be homeless, because I'm not going to work a job where I'm being paid peanuts and I don't want that job. You know, I'd rather work a job that I like. That's what I believe I deserve. You are also sending a message to your subconscious that, hey, this person doesn't take shit. If we're going to give this motherfucker a negative experience, this motherfucker is not going to accept it. So you train yourself while you're still here to accept only the things that make sense for you to accept. If you don't train yourself to reject nonsense, then you won't be able to reject nonsense in the afterlife. That's something that's very, very important to understand. The things that you hate about this world, you must hate them even when you are having a psychedelic experience, even when you are dreaming, so that even in the afterlife you will hate these things, so that you won't be manipulated. There are people that I already know that are coming back, bruh. Like, person there's no way they're gonna escape. There's no way they will be able to deal with these entities that, you know, be bringing people back here. Like, they've already lost. They're so unconscious that these beings don't even have to do much to manipulate them. You know, someone asked me a question the other day. They were like, why do some people suffer more than others? Like, there are people who can't catch a break for real. You see that this person truly suffers. Like, it gets to a point where they themselves can see that something wants them to suffer. You know, some people even believe that they were cursed. Because you can see that the way things happen just don't make sense. Like, if they were not cursed, you know, things wouldn't be happening. You are so damn conscious that the beings that are controlling this reality are threatened, and they are trying to keep you in a low state of consciousness. So they are making you suffer because of that, so that you remain in a low state of consciousness. That's why you are being attacked. They know that you're strong enough, you can actually escape. So they have to try their best to keep you in a low vibration, so that you won't be strong enough after this, so that you will feel defeated after this. Is it? But some people are so damn unconscious that these beings are like, that one is definitely coming back. Let them enjoy. Let them enjoy themselves. You know, they're definitely coming back. So there's no way that we can lose to this person. We can manipulate them in so many different ways. They believe in stupid things. They're delusional. They don't think rationally. They don't care about the truth. Whenever they hear the truth, they demonize the person that's telling them the truth. Like, they're definitely coming back. So try to prepare yourself to escape this realm while you are still here. Don't wait for, you know, the afterlife. Like, yeah, I'm gonna pull it off this time. Nah. Prepare yourself while you're still here. Learn as much as possible while you're still here. Try to develop a strong will to escape while you're still here. You gotta be more determined than Thanos. If you've watched Avengers, Thanos was very determined to wipe out about half of all life in the universe. He was very determined. Even though people were like, hey, you're wrong. Try to reason with him. He was too. You gotta have that kind of will. You gotta have a very strong will to free yourself. It needs to get to a point where your life is really about freeing yourself. It's really about learning what you need to learn to be able to free yourself, rather than being weak and allowing yourself to be controlled. That doesn't help. If you're still controlled by your emotions, like when you make decisions, you're like, how do I feel? Okay, I can see that I must leave this place, but I'm attached to this place emotionally, so I'm not going to leave it. Even though I'm suffering in this place, I'm attached. How are you going to how are you going to escape the soul trap? Because the level of manipulation that you're going to deal with is next level. Like compared to what you're dealing with here, it's next level. You are being manipulated here, but what you must realize that you're already here, so the beings that are manipulating you don't really care that much because you're still here, right? But if they know that your body escaped, of course they're gonna do a lot. It's like if you're in prison, the prison guys ain't really gonna be doing much to kind of like they don't watch you 24/7 like that, you know. But if you escape, you know, there will be a lot of people that will be looking for you. You know, they'll even get like the people who are very, very good at catching people who have escaped. They'll use every resource that they have. So if they can see that you can escape, of course they will use every resource that they have to bring your ass back. So you're going to be dealing with a very high level of manipulation. So you gotta be as ready as possible. That's why I also encourage people to try to, you know, be here for as long as possible. Learn as much as possible. Like don't just be here. Like learn, be learning. You wake up every day, you learn, you learn, you learn. You watch different videos online about people really speaking the truth. You learn. You read different books about people who are investigating this reality. You know, you learn. You know, one thing that you must realize is that even though there are, you know, there are people who lie, but there's always something that you can gain. You know, some people can lie about having a near-death experience. Some people can lie about channeling some entities. Some people can lie about having some experiences, but focus on what makes the most sense, right? Focus on what makes the most sense. Does what I'm being told really make sense to me? What I'm being told is not making sense because it's entertaining. Because some people love entertainment, bro. If you realize that, like, some people really love being lied. Just like people who believe in psychic mediums. I mean, if there are psychics, there are not that many in the world. Most of them are scammers. But people who have been scammed by these people, they wanted to be lied to. They paid them a lot of money to lie to them. Now, my dad passed away 2 weeks ago. I would want to communicate with him. So imagine if there was some medium that says, I can talk to your father and tell you what he's saying. I might tell myself that I wanna hear what this psychic medium has to say. And then they say nice things. And I feel good. Then I start believing that person is really a psychic, just because that makes me feel good. That's entertaining. You know, some people just want entertainment. You shouldn't be seeking entertainment in your journey of truth. Right, like if something isn't entertaining, it isn't true. Nah, the truth can be horrible. The truth can be wicked. So you keep an open mind the whole time. and see what makes the most sense. Thank you all, guys.